Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kyle, the channel is TPCV2, and welcome back to another update of my continuing attempt to create a Dyson Sphere in the Dyson Sphere Program. And I have made quite a bit of progress. Most will call it mediocre progress, but I'm calling it good progress because I've got some new things down, I've got some progress towards the Purple Energon, and in fact I think in this video we will be able to simply turn that process on. I have saved everyone the trouble of watching me try to actually set up the supply chain to actually get Purple Energon, but I'll show you everything I have done, and I'll show you some of the other items I have updated and some new structures I have created as well. We will start with a new solar field that I have constructed. This is on the near the opposite pole as the other solar farm, and whereas it is handy and it is helping, I still need to expand it even further because, as you can see, we are no longer meeting our energy production desires. I will sit at 100% most of the time, but when only these ones are getting sun and the other ones are not, we do not have enough power, and I don't have enough power to charge up this new massive field of collectors that I've created. So, oh well, we're working on it. I guess by we, I mean I. I do have a new coal generation, or a new coal power generation area, which is right here. This is pulling coal from this source of coal and another source of coal that's just around the corner. And it is certainly helping with power generation, however, it's not helping quite enough. So another thing that I learned, it does not seem to affect, if you're pulling from multiple veins at once, it doesn't seem to affect the amount that the other extractors are pulling from the veins. So the areas where I had like 3 extractors to try to not overlap, that's going to be a thing of the past, and we're going to try to pull more and more and more and more and more. Oh, it was interesting. I created this entire row of, or this entire area, this field of thermal power stations, and it was separate from the main power grid, and I wanted to see how much power just these were going to generate, but I couldn't turn them on unless I connected them to the power grid. So I placed a single solar panel and was able to jumpstart a single one of them to get it working, and then it was able to get all the others powered. So I was able to determine how much power I would generate with these before I actually connected them to the network. I don't actually know what that number was. That was a long while ago, probably 5 or 6 game hours ago, and I don't remember. So we have some new power generation facilities, as you can see, and they are inadequate, as you can see by the power grid. And see, the sun is now coming up on the larger solar field, and so as the sun comes up there, we will generally meet the power demands, at least for a little while. But that is next on my list to fix, is the power. One of the largest changes, though, that we have is where the heck is the sun? There's the sun. Generally I use the sun to locate Iota Reticuli 1. First, I'm a little bit better at flying through space. And in the lower left, you can see my speed is increasing. Shift increases your speed. I can go up to 2,000 meters per second. Going to Iota Reticuli 1, that's definitely not needed. Anything faster than 1,000 meters per second, and the chances of you overshooting the darn planet are fairly high. So we're going to stick with 1,000, as that should get us there pretty quick. And I can show you some of the changes. Holy cow, we're going to get close to the sun. Okay, we just fly around it. No, we don't. No, we don't. Okay, that's the closest to the star that I've ever gotten. And as you can see, there's titanium ingots flying through the sky. Those are being carried by logistics vehicles, which I would have already been to the planet's surface. However, the star slowed me down quite a bit. And you don't want to run out of power because then you can't decelerate properly. Okay. So, back to Iota Reticuli 1, and it was not a good landing. But we have ourselves interplanetary transport. That is probably the biggest thing that I have done. And it seems to be pretty simple. You have the interstellar logistics stations, and you can select up to 5 different products or 5 different items that it's storing and shipping back and forth and back and forth. And then you can select local supply or local demand, remote supply, remote demand. I basically have both of the, my setup is very, very simple. I haven't had this for long, so I'll try to improve it as we go, but both of these are simply set to remote supply, and then you supply them. You can supply them with the logistics drones, and those aren't doing anything. I don't really know how that works yet. I think you can utilize the planetary logistics station to have the drones move stuff back and forth, but so far the conveyor belts are near, the titanium production, both of these are just doing titanium. The titanium production is near enough that all I have to do is utilize conveyor belts to bring the stuff directly into the logistics station. It can house 10,000 of whatever the heck you're trying to store. I'm pretty sure it's only 10,000 though. Oh, maybe it is 10,000 a piece. Interesting. I thought if I selected this would be down at like 0. Maybe it is 10,000 apiece. So wait, if I selected titanium ingot, oh, you cannot choose. Okay, you cannot choose duplicate items. So it's 10,000 of every single thing, I guess. And you can reduce the maximum. So if I only wanted it to house 5,000 and not suck the rest of the planet dry, we could do that. And then the transport vessels, which are these guys on the ring up top, they take 200 of the titanium per trip, and bring it to Iota Reticuli 3, I think it is where my home base is. And so now we have a very generous supply of titanium. I have also gained the level 3 conveyors and the level 3 sorters, and those are pretty much strictly what I am utilizing now throughout the system. Anything I build that's new is all level 3 stuff. Oh, I have also gotten the Deuteron? That might be Deuterion. Deuterion or Deuteron fuel rods. Those are way, way, way better than anything I've found so far for the mecha. They are 300% fuel chamber energy generation, whereas the graphite is a 60%. There's a different type of fuel rod that sits at like 200%. I was able to skip right past it and go to these, so brilliant. That other fuel rod is, the hydrogen fuel rods. I skipped right past them, never even built them, and went right to these guys, which seems to have been an okay decision. May have slowed me down a little in the interim. I do also have some infrastructure on Iota Reticuli 4 that is simply grabbing gems, the silicone gems, directly from the ground and bringing them to the home base. That is an easier process, or at least I guess a less supply chain intensive process than turning stone into those crystals. So I'm bringing those directly from Iota Reticuli 4 to Iota Reticuli 3, and those are being used strictly for, at least so far, strictly for the Purple Energon generation, which I will show in a moment here. I will also show off a couple other things that I have done, and hopefully I will be able to land in one shot. There have been a couple of times where I've skipped off the atmosphere and then just flown into deep space. That generally doesn't go super well, but I'm a little bit better at it than I was before. Okay, so back home, and around the corner where I began everything. Oh, so first of all, here's the, what are these called? Silicon ore. Here's where I am taking stone and converting it into silicon ore, and I think I've shown this before. All of these creating silicon ore are still either not quite enough or barely enough to keep everything flowing. Yeah, see, even the high purity silicon, I can't even make those at the end here because I don't have enough of the ore coming through. Oh well. We're still doing fine. I am producing processors at a fast enough rate. I can't even store them right now because storage is full. That's great. That's the way I want it. I did have a problem that I ran into over here. This is my nightmare, as some folks may remember, to where everything is very convoluted here. I didn't plan it at all. I just tried to, you know, oh, let's build some engines, and then let's, oh, build a couple more engines, and now we need way more engines than we actually have. So at the end of all of these, to make the electromagnetic turbines and to make the supermagnetic rings, you end up needing engines and you end up needing electromagnets. I went ahead and built a much better process for that, so we have a couple of iron sources that are simply used for engines. They're creating the iron ingots and then creating the gears, pulling some copper from farther away, creating magnets, copper plates, and then the electromagnets, and all of that flows over here where we are creating engines, and we are creating way more than we need, which is exactly what we want for now. Another new entry into the supply chain is this here. So these are fractionators, and if you had seen the trouble that these gave me, you would laugh and laugh and laugh, because I could not figure out how these worked for the life of me. I even read the tutorial that it presented about them and everything, and still couldn't figure it out. The way that they work is hydrogen flows in one side, flows out the other side, and then every once in a while they will, I guess there's a 1% chance that each time hydrogen flows through, they can produce deuterium. And so the deuterium comes out the front, as you can see, 99%, that it's just going to flow right through as hydrogen, and I think it's like it almost seems like it's less than a 1% chance that you'll get some of that deuterium out. And so I have hydrogen flowing in a snake pattern through all of these, and the deuterium coming out, and then that is all housed in these tanks so that we never run out of a hydrogen flow. These guys here, obviously this area is a lot bigger than it was the last time. I found it's very difficult to keep, it's very difficult for me, a noob and non-professional, to keep the refined oil and the hydrogen both flowing properly. As you can see right now, these three at the end, that little yellow means that they can't work for some reason. Well, that's because they can't spit out any refined oil because I'm not using the refined oil quick enough. So I am pulling refined oil to all kinds of different places. We're still making plastic here. I'm making, what is this, sulfuric acid. I'm making sulfuric acid in this area and then pulling the sulfuric acid over here and making the reinforced titanium. And yes, I am pulling titanium all the way from across the planet where the ships bring it in, and then dumping the titanium off here in this area, along with steel and sulfuric acid to create the reinforced titanium. We are also creating graphene, and then I am pulling graphene around the way to actually turn the graphene into carbon nanotubes. And I will show all of that off in a second. But we have a whole lot more going on with the oil. I'm sure that eventually here, I think I'm actually slowly running out of oil in the storage tanks, so eventually when we run out, we'll have to pull it from elsewhere, either on this planet or perhaps on another planet. But the whole reason why I have brought everyone here today is because we are ready to generate Purple Energon. Right now I'm not studying anything. We have tons of red, tons of blue, tons of yellow Energon. We're full up on all of it. The yellow, I'm pretty sure I was generating yellow before, but for those who didn't see that, we are turning graphite into diamonds in this area. Then we are turning the diamonds into titanium crystal. Oh no, we're not. We're just using the diamonds. Titanium crystal is actually organic crystals and titanium plates, which was very difficult. Previously, I just had storage containers here full of titanium that I would bring manually, and then we'd feed them over here. But now that I'm bringing titanium from another world, it is much, much, much easier. And then yellow Energon, I believe, takes diamonds. Yes, so the yellow Energon takes the titanium crystals and the diamonds and turns it into yellow Energon, which we are stacked way up on. So we are bringing graphite, refined oil, carbon fiber, carbon filaments, what have you, into this whole area here. We are making more plastic because plastic is required for Purple Energon. We are making carbon nanotubes, finally, which is also required for Purple Energon because the end requirements for Purple Energon are particle broadband. So fiber optic cable, basically, is what we need. So for fiber optic cable, that requires carbon nanotubes, crystal silicon, and plastic. We are making carbon nanotubes right here. We are making plastic right here. And then we are bringing in nearby, I believe it is, that I am making... Here, we'll go check it out. So silicon, we have tons and tons of the silicon ore brought in by ships from Iota Reticuli 4 into this interstellar logistics station, dropped off here. Then we are turning that into the, what are these again? Silicon sheets. High purity silicon, whatever, which is then refined further into crystal silicon. Crystal silicon is required in the fiber optic cable. Fiber optic cable made here with carbon nanotubes, crystal silicon, and plastic, which so far we're fine. We're making enough of it, but we're about to turn on the Purple Energon, and all I have to do is power this, and it should work. Operative word being should. Then the Purple Energon will be carried along to meet up with all the other Energons, and hopefully will flow into both of the research towers while also being stored there when I have spare. Haha, like I will have any spare. And of course, we are still running into power problems. Oh, at the moment we're not. Currently generating more than we're consuming, so hey, 100% every now and again. See, I told you it was working. Whew, that was quite a mouthful. So, that is everything that I have done, I think, since... I mean, obviously I've made some little changes here and there as production chains have broken down and showed the flaws that I have in them. And yes, there are still flaws in all of this. I'm flying blind here, kind of learning it as I go. I have also opened up, where's the Dyson Sphere Program tab here with ray receivers and EM rail ejectors. Actually, I may have had the EM rail ejectors for a while. I have no idea how any of this works. I don't know how to build these, and in fact, heck, to build a ray receiver, I'm going to need stuff that I haven't even had before. Ray receiver requires photon combiners, which are over here. Very interesting. Some type of crystalline structure. Great. Anyhow, for now, let us power this up and see if it actually works and creates Purple Energon. Maybe. Come on. You can do it. Wow, it's not super fast, is it? Hey, at least we have enough to power it all the way to the top. Oh, it is plenty fast. See, I didn't do it right. That right there was taking from it, not giving to it. So we will do that, and that should fix that problem. And check it out. Purple Energon. Let's go make sure it actually flows properly, which it should flow into and then right out of these guys, and then perfect. So, I have already decided, I think, what I would like to study, which is Mechacore 4, which will then allow me, I believe, Mechacore 4. Let's activate that. And is it Universe Exploration? No. I can never find what it is. There is then another one that I can study. Maybe it's in Technologies. That will allow me to actually utilize warp drive. Hey, look. We're actually studying with all 4 in there now. Aren't they pretty? That is very cool. Of course, we're not making Purple Energon very quickly yet. I will add on to this as we go. First, I need to see... I mean, so far, it does not look like we are utilizing much. Do I have any more of this? I do. Let's do that now then. We will supercharge the energon production. Purple, that is. And yes, the level 3 conveyors are quite an order of magnitude faster than the level 2s. As you can see, I do also have the second level of, what are they, assemblers? Yes, the assembling machine Mark II, which they do seem to be faster. I don't know if I would say they're lightning speed faster. Like, level 3 versus level 2 conveyors was a massive jump. Level 1 to level 2 assemblers was a jump, but not quite as staggering. Oh, I have to pick what I'm making here. Perfect. Okay, so we are now making double the amount of Purple Energon. Okay, I did some quick looking around, and first of all, I queued up some, where are they, upgrades. I queued up a couple of the research speed increases. I see no reason not to do those. I mean, it'll take a little while, but whatever. Then, what you need is, you have to have strange matter, you have to have magnetic particle trap, and strange matter in order to unleash. Wow, I can speakity great. In order to unlock gravitational waveform refraction. Once you have gravitational waveform refraction, then, and you need the Mecha Core level 4, but once you have that, then you can unlock the drive engine level 4, which I think is the final version, at least right now in the early access, the final version of the drive engine, which will allow Mecha Warp. That will then mean, after a whole lot more work, I'm assuming, I will be able to warp to different star systems. So I will be able to go from the solar system that I'm in now to a completely different one, as shown on this wonderful map that I still, after all this time, I've probably got 10 or 15 hours into the game, maybe even more, and here we are, still trapped in our own system. So, hopefully, all that will come to fruition. Am I making enough to... I'm not even pumping out enough purple to fully fill this guy, so perhaps we will need to work on creating even more Purple Energon. But those are going to continue on, and so what we will do now is we will simply allow the miracle of fast forwarding to take us forward to where all of this is done. In the meantime, what I will probably do is work on my power generation and see if I can improve the coal power up in this area and see if we can generate more power that is not dependent on the sun. I do have these. Satellite substation. Wide area power distribution facility provides longer range power transmission and a larger power supply area. I have no idea what these do. I have not tried to use them yet. They utilize items that I have never constructed. Where are these? These right here. So frame material, which is this stuff. I can make this stuff out of high purity silicon, titanium alloy, and carbon nanotubes. So I will make some of these and give it a try at some point. Just not at this point, because again, sitting through this would be completely ridiculous. But for those who want a high-level overview of what I've done, and again, I know it looks really bad, but right now it's working. It takes a while to set up, but once it's set up, you know, things just kind of flow the way they're supposed to, at least according to my crazy design. And so we have an orbital station, or not an orbital station, a station that allows interplanetary transport of goods, an interstellar logistics station. I don't know if it's interstellar, it's more like interplanetary, because so far we're not going to a different star system. I don't know how that'll work either, because this only allows a maximum of 10 of the logistics vessels to be stored on it. Unless they can go really, really fast, it's going to be slow going. Like, I'm going to have an entire planet covered in these, just transporting resources back and forth, because 3.25 light years, that sure seems like a lot. Can you pin the view? Like, what does that do? I have no idea. Anyhow, and then I have another interstellar logistics station there that we already saw, bringing in silicone across the world. We have our yellow energon, our purple our red and our blue. I think they're fairly close together, kind of, sort of. I don't know. At least they're all brought together in the same place on the same two towers. I would like to think that this is at least moderately efficient here. I know that these are still, by the way, all these conveyors that are green are not the level 3s. I could work through and break all of this stuff down and redo it, but I think what the developers have said is that eventually you can lay down level 3 on level 2 and level 2 onto level 1 conveyors, and so I'm gonna just say we'll hold off for now because I am a nice and patient person. So rather than replacing all this stuff by blowing it up and redoing it all, I will just wait until I can lay the level 3 stuff directly on top of the level 2 stuff. We have 2 fields of solar panels that, holy cow, is not enough. And let's see, did I actually do that right or not? Yeah, they're kind of on opposite poles. There's the South Pole, and there's the North Pole. Yeah, you know, they're pretty much opposite of each other. So I'm going to try to put some more solar panels in this area. I am going to try to put some more coal generation in this area, some more thermal power stations in this area, and I will be back in a second once... Oh, hey, plus 800 megajoule max core energy. Oh, okay, so now instead of 780, I've got... Oh, so instead, I pretty much had 800 before, so we have 1600 now, or it'll probably be like 1580 or something weird like that, but whatever. That works. That's a lot more power than I had previously. Awesome. It's going to be a while for these to complete. Maybe I will take a look at Purple Energon as well. But for now, let us just fast forward to where those are completed, and I can at least take an initial look at how difficult warping to another system will be.
Turn on the warp. Each time you turn it on, it will consume a great amount of energy and an additional space warper. If you want to travel freely between the stars, you need to prepare sufficient energy and space warpers.
Alrighty, so we have reached the ability to warp between solar systems. When you're out of the planetary gravitational range... Oh, okay, you can hit caps lock. I don't think... Ah, okay. So what that did was that created this space here, which requires a space warper used to activate warp of mecha and logistics vessels. Oh, okay, so logistics vessels can use this as well. That will be supremely helpful. Use the caps lock key to start the warp engine. That's not my favorite thing, because I may hit the caps lock key, and then when I exit out of the game, I will still have the caps lock key depressed, and that'll cause problems. Anyhow, so we are currently not researching anything. The Purple Energon went okay. I did have to increase the Purple Energon generation, and then once I did run out of, I believe it's the carbon nanotubes. No, the fiber optic cable is what I'm out of, so I can only power almost three of these. I cannot power the fourth, or I don't have enough fiber optic to supply the fourth. And it looks like maybe it is carbon nanotubes that I'm out of. I don't know. There's something that I'm out of here as well. Whatever the heck this stuff is. I don't even remember. Oh, this is plastics. Okay, so I'm not supplying enough plastic. Anyhow, it worked out. It took a little bit longer than I would have liked, and of course, as with every single other of my supply chains, it's not perfect, but it did get the job done. So my only other question now is, how does one create... Okay. So, a space warper requires a graviton lens. And a graviton lens requires strange matter and diamonds. So I can make diamonds, and I'm pretty sure I can make diamonds in whatever amount is needed. Strange matter, though, made in a particle collector. What? Particle collector. Particle... does anybody see anything that looks like a particle collector? Because I sure don't. Seriously, I have no idea what a particle collector looks like or is. Maybe it's something that I haven't even... There's an orbital collector, but I don't think that's a particle collector. So I'm not sure. We will have to figure that out. But Strange matter also requires iron. Really? Iron. Okay. Deuterium. Sweet. Well, I'm glad I've been making a ton of that. And particle containers. What is the difference between recipe particle container advanced? I don't understand what the difference is there. What is that? Unipolar magnet. Rare ore has a burnstone crystal. Okay, let's skip that for now. So I can make that, I can make that, I can make that. I am not making much of graphene, though. I'm going to need to vastly... I'm going to need a lot more graphene production. Energy exchanger. See, I do not know... So you can make that in an assembler. You can make that in a particle collider. Oh, so it's not a particle collector. It is a particle collider. Ah, miniature particle collider. When two beams of particles are continuously accelerated to a certain intensity and energy, they will collide and new particle... Oh boy. What does that take to make? Holy cow. Whew. And I know that these videos are getting more and more, I don't know, convoluted might be the word. I'm doing air quotes as I say that. Because it takes so much effort just to make a small... Just to take a small little step takes a whole lot of effort and a whole lot of creation, and it ends up that, you know, my whole plan was to, okay, let's get to Purple Energon, and once I get to Purple Energon, I'll record again and show people what I've done. But it took so much effort just to get Purple Energon that I can't even begin to show all of what I did between the two, you know, between the videos. So hopefully you can grasp at least a little bit of how far I've come, or at least a little bit of the progress that I'm making. But I do understand that, wow, am I going to need... I'm going to need to figure out how to get to other planets, and then once I figure out how to get to other planets... Sorry, other systems, other solar systems. Once I figure out how to get to other solar systems, I'm going to need more oil. Like, I don't think there's enough oil in this system. Here there is... Where's that shown? Crude oil. Why is it lit up? That's interesting. So 29.41. I'm guessing that's the maximum amount per second. None. So none there. And none. So I'm gonna have to get oil from somewhere else at some point. And yes, there's consistently things that I need to fix and things that I need to redo, because again, I don't lay out enough of this ahead of time to make it something where I can just build freely and, you know, in perfectly straight lines. That's just not how I play, I guess. Again, I apologize to those who do not enjoy somebody just winging it, and if you don't enjoy shaking your fist at your computer screen and saying, "What an idiot!" well, then you might not enjoy this. But, and yes, see, I see a new problem. I don't even have, as I'm complaining about not having enough oil, I have so much refined oil backed up that I can't even use it. So we'll have to figure that out. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'd rather have too much refined oil than not enough. So I will figure out how to use it. And yes, oh, that's another thing that I did learn, is that, like, all of these, like, the refined oil and the sulfuric acid, those are much better stored in tanks like these. And so I am trying to store more stuff in tanks now, but I totally didn't realize that that's where they can be stored previously, so that's going to be a long, long, long time coming as well. I am guessing that by the next time I record, I may have this completely redone. All of this might get leveled in order to facilitate a better use of crude and refined oils along with hydrogen. But in any case, I would like to thank everybody who did decide to watch. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And you guys will see my gameplay and you will hear my voice on the next one.